Hi everybody, welcome to Piscarifly. Not Saturday Night Live, Sunday Night Live. I hope everyone's keeping well and had a good weekend. Sorry about last night, folks. I had to go up and see the folks before I head off to Australia on Tuesday, so bring the kids up as well. Say hello to all the family up there. So the only chance we got to do it was last night. So I said I'll move it till Sunday night, and I think it worked out okay for everyone. How you doing, Ricky Croak? Dick Croak is on there as well. Hope you're all keeping well. See, Ricky got a couple of nice fish down in Adair Springs today. Good man, Ricky, fair play. Thomas Sullivan, good to have you on was there, Thomas. And Dave is on there, folks. Dave will be along with his trivia later on. Let's talk to David earlier on as well. He's got an interesting trivia question for you tonight. Thomas Sullivan, Kevin Maher, Liam Long is on there, Wayne Murphy, Brian Kennedy, Anthony Bolton, how you doing, Anthony? Declan Noonan, Martin O'Rourke, Joe Hanlon, John O'Riordan's on there as well. Good to have you on with us, John. Giuseppe is back on as well. Good to have you there. David Hannaford, Aidan Gill. I hope everybody is keeping well. Lorraine is on there as well. I'm keeping well, Lauren, from France. Hope you're keeping well. Adrian Conn, Billy Boland, how you doing, James Johnson? Great to have everyone on with us tonight on a Sunday night. Very close to Christmas, folks. and getting close. I suppose I'm getting close to heading away. We leave Tuesday morning. We fly to London, and then from London we fly Hong Kong. How you doing, Adam? Good to have you on with us there. Good. Hi, Rob Walker. On Patrick Burker's on there as well. Good to have you on, Patrick. Yeah, it seems to be, Adam. It seems to be. But a 13-hour flight then from London to Hong Kong, 6 hours in Hong Kong, and another 9-hour flight down to Melbourne. So 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, myself and the wife. Looking forward to that trip. It should be interesting, but all will go well and everyone will be grand there. How you doing, Gillen? Dylan Roberts is on there. Wondering who picks the music for the intro. It's my pick, Dylan. Something to gets all going a bit now on a Sunday night or typically a Saturday night. But how you doing, Colin O'Gara? Good to have you on there. John Ferran. Well, look, we'll try making it as exciting as we can for you, John. Mike McGovern in there. Thanks, Mike. I will surely. Mike on there from New York, but yeah, so big trip planned and looking forward to spending the Christmas going down and meeting a lot of good friends down there. It's going to be a lot of fishing content coming from down there too, so keep an eye out on that. Anyone that's in the club, there'll be regular stuff put up there and interviews and stuff with different people. How you doing, Sharon? Great stuff. Right, so what we got lined up this night is we're going to do a nymph night. I haven't done any real nymphs yet this series so far, and it was kind of, debating, will I leave it till I come back? Now, probably, folks, there's not going to be a Saturday Night Live while I'm in Australia. I think it's just, I've just looked at the logistics of it, and it's going to be virtually impossible. There will be lots of content coming your way. Hi, Dave Peter. Good stuff. Dave Lee, sorry. How you doing, Giuseppe? So the logistics are just not going to work from Australia. So I said there will be lots of footage coming your way, stuff like that. Saturday Night Live will start back then at the end of January, and we will go right through then into Paddy's weekend in March, getting ourselves all ready for season. How you doing, Nigel Haynes and Peter Wadden? I know yous are all fairly disappointed, but look, there'll be plenty of footage coming your way from fishing down Australia and sunny beaches, and I won't say too much, but thanks, Gary. Thanks for that little bit of advice. Gary says that, remember one thing, most of the animals under the equator are trying to kill you and eat you in that order. Thanks, Gary. I'll try and stay clear of those guys. But how you doing, Declan Doyle? Good to have you on with us there, Declan. So anyway, look, we'll get into tonight. We'll talk a bit more about the next couple of weeks as we go through the night. So as I got 4 nymphs, Dave is along as well with his trivia quiz. So keep an eye out for that one. We got a nice, actually, fly tying lamp. Lovely little handy fly tying lamp these. I bring these on my travels everywhere with me. They fold up really neat, but they're a great fly tying lamp. Lots of different settings on them, stuff. So we're going to give one of those away. Great Christmas present for someone as well. If you're interested, if you're looking for any last minute Christmas presents, do give us a shout here, piscarifly. Yeah, so I believe, Kenneth. We are going to be open right throughout the Christmas. I'll post up on social media tomorrow our opening hours. Owen and Mark and indeed Ricky will be helping us out there as well. How you doing, Michael Callaghan? Good to have you on with us there. But we will be open right throughout the Christmas as normal. So if you need it during the Christmas period to go do a bit of stocky fishing or pike fishing or like that, do call into piscarifly. If you need any last minute Christmas presents or Christmas ideas, do give us a shout here. We'll be open all throughout the Christmas. So do. Right, tonight, nymphs. So, we're going to have a nymph night tonight. And Dennis, how you doing, Ted Werry? Good to have you on there. Yeah, good stuff, Gary. Yeah, I'll do that, alright. So, tonight's nymphs are not going to be our jig nymphs, they're not going to be your typical, how you doing, Chris Oliver and Joe Hanlon. They're not going to be your stereotypical, what would you expect, kind of our jig nymphs, okay? These nymphs are what I call, they're for nymphing. What I use these nymphs for specifically is for more kind of beading, okay? So, I'm not sure if you've done any Euro dinking as yet, where you'd use the dry dropper, no fly line, just your leader going out, and you're just dragging that sedge across the water and there's a nymph trailing behind it. This is a style of fly I use for this, or it's a style of fly that I'm not typically, say, doing what we call Euro nymphing today, but more nymphing, long line nymphing with a fly line as well. Okay, these flies also don't have to get to the bottom. This is kind of a trout or a bit higher. up in the water and stuff like that. How you doing, Michael Foley? You're very welcome, Mikey. Mikey won one of our prizes there last week, and enjoy that, Mikey. See you down at Dare Springs there during the week as well, Mike. You're over the weekend. Yourself and Dave Coughlin and a few lads were down there having a bit of a sport. These are more nymphs that fish higher in the water too, you know, along streamy water and stuff like that. Dragging them back higher in the water if the fish are up a bit higher and stuff. They're not what I would do is kind of have, hi Lucas, good to have you on, mister. It's not exactly what I would sink right to the bottom and drag along the bottom. I could fish these in a lot lighter water. They're very versatile style of nymph, and they're not tied on G-hooks. Sometimes I find as well, I'm sure most is to do a bit of nymphing, is that, you know, there is days where the G-hooks are just not connecting with those fish, or not getting them as many as you're meeting, and I often find switching out and going to a more standard size hook or standard style hook, which are countersunk bead, will be, you know, far more productive on that day. So it's always worth having a selection of these style of nymphs in your box. Now, when I'm tying these nymphs, I'm always tying them on a 301. So the 301 is the Haku dry fly hook. Now they are quite strong, and look at you. I'm not going to lie to you. There is a risk. There's always a risk you can straighten in a very big trout. But also we're using 2-weight rods, so they're quite soft, and they're very a lot of tip protection there. So, you know, using with that rod and stuff like that, you know, there's not really much of a fear of me straightening. I can't really honestly say I can pick one specific moment where I would have straightened one of these hooks, but they're very fine wire. I also tend to oversize on the hook a little bit, so this is a size 14, and I find the hookups when the fish are behaving like the way I was trying to describe before, you're just not nailing them on the jigs. Well then, you know. Go on, Dave. You know, you're just not nailing them on jigs. Well, like, you know, a larger hook kind of, sometimes once they suck it in at all, especially in the kind of water, the style I'm fishing this, they're not coming off. You're setting that hook every time. Okay, you're setting the hook every time. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. We're going to start with a little black nymph. There's no real names on any of these, only kind of the colour which gives them reference. Hi Cyril, good to have you on with us there. Cyril Kerr, and Graham is on there. Graham Ridge Reynolds is on there. So a little bit of black tying thread on this. So say this is size 14 301 the Haku, and on that there I've got a 3 mil. These beads, the flies that I only, actually I forgot something straight away, the flies, the beads I only really tie these in weight size would be 3 mil down. They'd never go above 3 mil really, and even 3 mil would be quite big. Most of these are tied in 2.5s. I just said I'll go. How you doing, Jamie Conway? I see you down fishing Rathdrum today, Jamie, with your daughter. Great stuff, great to see her. I hope you enjoyed the lake. How you doing, Alan Kelly? Good to have you on there as well. Johnny Wilkinson's on there. Good afternoon to yourself too, sir. I was only looking at pictures of you today, John, actually, when you were over here in Ireland. I'm saying we'll send John a shout before I head to Australia. I'll give you a shout tomorrow. But I'm going to add a little bit of fine lead here. And all I want to do is... actually, just hang on. So anyway, I was saying, yeah, I never really tie these. Most of these are kind of tied in 2.5 mils and 2 mils. But I never really tied them any heavier than that. A little bit of lead and just shove it up in there. And we'll put a little bit of a wedge of thread there. And I can just find that little bit of lead right there where the thorax is going to be, it just helps to proportion the fly a little bit better by having that little bit of lead up there. And you can just get some thread across it. You can glue it in as well if you want, but I'll just, for tonight, keep the tipping along. I won't. How you doing, Fergal Fenton? Good to have you on with us there. Hope everyone's keeping well, and everyone's had a good weekend, all ready for Christmas. So I'm going to add a little bit of Cocktail Leon into the tail. Small little pinch. These flies are not meant to be big, bushy kind of. That's it, Chad. Big bushy big bushy nymphs. They're quite slim and slender, okay? I'm going to add a rib in here. This is a mono rib. Sorry, I was just reading. Hi Neil, good to have you on there. Yes, he is. He's on tonight, Neil. He's on tonight. The Quizmaster is back tonight. So this is a black mono rib. Okay, it's mono thread by Sabaya. It can be very good for rib and black bodies if you don't want to use wire. I'm going to just add in a piece of that there. Catch it in well up the body. Make sure it's well secure. And we'll hold that back there out of the way. I got a little bit of fine mylar here, pearl mylar. And we're going to add that in there as well. Making sure that's on top. And then with your thread, start just getting a nice smooth body coming up there. Again, don't overdo it. Just get a nice tapered shape up to that bit of ledge you had in there. How you doing, James Kavanagh? Good to have you on there. And we're going to pull that little bit of mylar up over the top. Hi Brian Canty. Hope you're keeping well up there in Trim and County Meath. Just keeping a bit of pressure on that mylar there with my right hand while my left hand throw over the thread, just to make sure it stays exactly where it is. Again, I've said it before, don't cut off your waist there right to the very right tight to the bead, because what'll happen is if something moves or something happens, well then, you know, you want to be able to to kind of fix it a bit, or maybe undo a step or two, and if you cut that off that tight and something moves when I go ribbing it, well then, which can happen, something breaks or twists off to the side, well then you're not going to be able to. Now the only one thing I'll say about ribbing with the black mono, you got to put a lot of pressure on it. To get a real good tight rib, I really do put a lot of pressure on that. Make sure it's well tied in. As you can see, I'm folding it back on itself in there. And now we can take away our waist. Once we're happy that everything's on top, that's all good. Really, these names are quite simple. The simplicity of them, you know, they're nothing. There's nothing rocket science about them. Very, very simple, and really, really effective. See, mostly 2.5 mil, 2 mils. I would tie these on 99% of the time. Going to go for a slightly wider mylar here now. Next size up. And I'm going to add that in there for a thorax cover. Now what I'm going to put in there is a little bit of muskrat dubbing. Absolutely, Dennis. Simple as always, the best. Especially when the situations where I'm going to fish these in. You know, it's not high water. It's light riffles, possibly kind of high summertime. Trout could even be a little bit lethargic with heat. Water temperatures are rising. And, you know, these are... Just bring your thread back up to that dubbing a little bit. These are really light little nymphs that just fish in that particular time. You know, when trout are sitting in the riffles, the little pockets. And even when I'm nymphing these, like I'm nymphing these from distance, I might even be casting them up into the... I might even be casting them up into a little pocket or something like that. And they're only... Sometimes they can be only in the kill zone for a second, a microsecond. You know, that's all. I'm going to whip finish that off. And there is a tendency there, and I'm even thinking about it. Will I put a hot spot in the back of it? Will I put a hot spot in the back of it? No. It's a better fly without it. Sometimes any of those long kind of guard hairs from the muskrat, you can pluck them out or cut them away if you don't want them, if they're just interfering with the look you're looking for. I made a few little bits, but sometimes they can be a little bit over. And I'll give that a light little brush out. And there you have it. Very, very simple little nymph. but absolutely lethal. As you can see, a good contrast between it and kind of the standard jiggy kind of stuff we'd normally tie, or an awful lot of people into, say, thanks Andre, say an awful lot of people that get into Euro nymphing and stuff like that in today's world. It's kind of, you know, there is always a tendency to go with the big jig hooks and the different stuff like that, and sometimes you're better off just going nice and simple, you know, on a standard hook like that, and especially the dry fly hook that big. You can see, you know, the gate that's in the hook, and that's you know, the amount of hook that's left there. Absolutely, yeah. The mono rib on that is 0.006. No, sorry, 0.16 millimeter. The mono thread, 0.16. Thanks, Aidan. Thanks. Yeah, they're fantastic, you know. And I say I've started to use them quite a bit. Doing the Kenneth Raleigh, sorry Kenneth, that's 0.16. You can see I started using them a lot on Euro dinking, which is where we have the dry dropper set up on our Euro rods. Very long leaders, no fly line. You're basically connected directly to the dry fly. That's the first time you interact with the water, and you're just fishing up the little rivers. Thanks, John. You're fishing up little rivers and just dragging it back through the waters, making, you know, disturbance on the surface with the clean cameras and the sedges and stuff. And then you have the likes of this nymph swimming behind it. It's not very effective method using a jig nymph. It's not. You can get an awful lot. How you doing, Drew? Good to have you on, Minister. It's not very effective using a jig nymph, but using this style of a nymph. And then these are really good under dry dropper too. So it's always worth. It was actually someone asked me the question last week, I think it was, you know, about jig nymphs and standard style nymphs or standard style hooks like this shape, and you know, I'm saying no, absolutely. It's so important to have a selection of both in your box, in your nymph box, because there is days where I will actually stop fishing jigs and move to these because I'm actually missing too many fish, and it can be the difference between catching and not catching, or catching the amount you want or the amount you should be catching and not. So there we have a very simple, lovely little nymph, little bit of flashback across the top as you can see, and really super effective. I like using it, and see, try and resist not putting in the hot spot. There's no need for it. We're fishing crystal clear, small, skinny water at the time. There's not always need, and that little bit of flash off of the back there is excellent. You know, it's enough. Like, thanks, Colin. So right, so there's one going into the tub there. Got as usual our lovely little tub. I forget who won all the lovely bumbles from last week, but they were delighted with it. They always go in there, and anyone that's new to us, if you share the stream, go on and share the stream. Yeah, nearly is, Brian. If you go on and share the stream, you're in to win tonight's nymphs as well. So do go on ahead and share it. So we're going to move on now and do another very similar style. They're all the nymphs tonight are of the same style. They're going to be a selection of nymphs that we're tying for this specific type of purpose fishing. Okay, it can be very long leaders. Even say casting a floating line quite far upstream. With two of these on it, say 2.5 mils on it, or 2 mil and 2.5 mil, can be super effective as well. Okay, in the vise now, I've again got the tray. I'm going to tie them all on 14s. I got a size 14. Yeah, I totally agree. Hi, Ken Tubb. Ken Dunn, good to have you on with us. I totally agree, Dylan. Yeah, I think Eugene's on there as well. Good to have you on, Eugene. Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's an awful... look, it's not awful. Like, jigs are very good, but... You know what I mean? There's more and more. I'm heading back to this style of nymph, more and more. Again, I'm going to put on a little bit of wire. I got about 8 to 10 wraps there, and just shoving it up there. It just holds that bead in place, and it just allows me to get a nice little taper on as I come up near that bead with my body and stuff. Got a little bit of olive tying thread this time. They did, yeah. Wasn't the Bumbles we were on last week, was it? Was it last week I was on Bumbles? I think it was. It's that much happens in my week. It's nearly like a month ago since I was tying flies with you guys. Okay, a little bit of olive thread. Again, we're going with the Cocktail Leon. Always Cocktail Leon. Light little tails. 4 to 5 fibres of, or barbs of Cocktail Leon. Take away a little bit of waste. One more turn just for security. And this time we got a quill. Yeah, that's what they're designed for, alright, Dave, but I think the thing is that people are just using them regardless, you know. And there is a time, there's absolutely a time when your nymphs will be more effective for catching fish when they're not on the bottom of the river. There is definitely times when your nymphs are effective when the trout are looking up or they're up off the bottom. Well then, you know, you're going to have to get those nymphs off the bottom. A little bit of olive. Just find it hard to see actually with the olive quill, the olive trade. And as I always say, the lighting here does be so bad when I'm doing this video because all the lights are facing towards me to give you the best possible picture. A little bit of olive strip quill there. You can leave it out if you want, Aidan. It's up to yourself. Hi, Tim Williams. Good to have you on, sir. You can leave it out, Aidan, or you can put it on there if you want. For me, it's always something I like tucking up in behind. Tucking up in behind a countersunk bead. I find it just holds my bead in good position, and it just helps with the taper of the body. It gives me kind of nearly something to work towards, if you get me, of where I want to shape the kind of diameter of my body as I get up near the thorax. If I don't, I find it's too skinny. And absolutely, Stuart. Do you know, absolutely, you can put these and you can swing them across. There's absolutely no reason why they'll swim quite fine. And I've often put these up on Rob Redmond's on there as well, and Declan O'Sullivan. Good to have you on there, lads. I've often, you know, been fishing spiders, and I will put a nymph, a typical this style of nymph up there as well on the point, you know, to try and drag wet flies down, and they work quite effective. They really are quite effective. Just taking the quill up the body. And see, we're getting kind of nice long slenderish bodies, and that's fine. That's perfectly exactly what I want. I don't want it in any kind of big chunky or not too flash. And you'll notice the trend kind of with them all as we go through the bills, that there's no great flash. Or how you doing, Johnny Long? Good to have you on with us here. Yeah, that's the only downside then, is really is if you're fishing this style and on the bottom, there is a higher risk of getting snagged up. There is a higher risk of getting snagged up. I just got to get a bit of resin out. Yeah, those are the Polish quills, Eugene. Yeah, they're really good. Easy enough to work with, quite strong, and easy enough to work with. We have them there downstairs with plenty of colours. I just got to get some. I'm nearly getting to the end of my big bottle of Solares. It's nearly empty. I wonder how many flies have I got out of that bottle. It's been on the go a while now, and it's nearly getting to the end of it, but there's another bit left in it yet. So as usual, I put my resin into a little tub, and then what I'll do is I'll use a little brush and I will just paint it on. Don't want a big massive coat on this. I want to keep it nice and nice. Yeah, it is kind of, it's the best of them all. Solares, I find, is the best of them all. And this is just to give the quill a little bit of protection, really, so to withstand a couple of takes. Once I'm happy enough I've got it coated, excuse me, I'll then give it a zap of the laser pen. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do now is I need to yeah, with two minds here now. I'm going to switch threads, so I'm going to switch over to a little bit of Kevlar here to finish this fly. Because I'm going to be splitting it in a moment. Okay, whatever, you don't get a cut right at start. Okay, and we're going to add in here's a little bit of mirage. I can done, good question. I use what's the name of the stuff for someone come in there and help me. It's on the tip of my tongue. I use, so here I got a little bit of Mirage medium tinsel. Sugar. Stuff for cleaning nails, nail polish remover. What's it called? I'm sorry. It'll come to somebody there now. Acetone, yes. Thanks, Brian. Good man, Brian. Acetone. So you know when. So I just added in a little bit of so a bit of acetone to clean them. A little bit of acetone to clean them. Cane, but also you don't, you know, I keep it the little brush in a drawer. So once it's not in direct sunlight, then it's not going to set like. Same. That's why I use a little tub like that. So when I'm finished tying tonight, like I'll just close that up, and the little bit of resin that's left over there. Thanks, Adrian. A little bit that. Johnny Long, I'll be doing everything. I have a full bag of gear packed, but then I can throw that little tub there into one side there, the desk, and if when I want it tomorrow or the day after, I reuse that bit of resin. No, I'll be doing a bit of everything. No, it's not Brian. I'll be doing a bit of everything over there, Johnny Long. I'll be doing some spinning off rocks and stuff like that as well. I brought the saltwater fly fishing gear, and I've brought the river fly fishing gear. I'm meeting up with a few friends and a few other competitive anglers out there, and we're going to fish some rivers and different things like that. So I'll be doing a mix of everything. I'll be doing literally a mix of everything. I love all kinds of fishing. So I will, Richard. I'll be like, what was his name? Rex Hunt. Wahoo! But anyway, okay. So you know when you've used the tips of your CDC for wings and stuff like that. I don't throw them out. As you can see, this one has been cleanly cut across top, and this is really handy for these kind of nymphs. What I'll do is I'll take out a little bit out of the center, just like so, and then what I'll do is really good for just doing little side kind of legs. As you can see, what I have there now is just split in two, and it makes it very easy. Yeah, Rob, it is. That's the Haku 301. Crocodile Dundee, yeah. I will, Peter. So what I'll do here is I'll just place that on top, pinching the two bits of CDC down either side, and then getting in over the top and securing them in place. So what I'm left with is two nice legs either side. Not again over impostering on the kind of the fly, but still a nice little bit of CDC going out either side. Then what I'll do is I'll take a dubbing needle. I'm bringing all the camera gear with me as well, so there will be lots of videos and stuff going up. The club I'll be putting some stuff up on social media, but most of it will be going on to the Piscarifly Club. So if you want to follow the adventure, and it surely will be an adventure, I'd say, in Australia, well then you can click that join button. The first month is free, and join up with the club. And lots of discounts and stuff on there as well. So what I got here, a little bit of dyed olive fox squirrel, and I'm just going to split this thread and add a little bit of that into it as well. So we'll just massage that nice and flat. Look, it's going to be a great trip. So, you know, the kids are really, like, especially Lily and Tommy, they're really looking forward to it, you know. It'll open up the whole world to them. So I'm going to just dub in a little bit of that there, get it up in between. I might add in a little bit more, and I can always remove it if I want. Once I've got that in there, then I use my usual spinning technique. Don't want a massive, big, bulky thorax here. I just want to get the effect of the under effect kind of the spiky. Thanks, John. I do, Kenneth. I do. Yeah, absolutely everything there. I have the quills, the hooks, the beads, the backing, all the different squirrel material. Everything is there. if anybody's ever looking for something to say off a Saturday Night Live or tonight, Sunday Night Live, if you're looking for something in particular, and what I'll do with this position before I even start finishing up, I'll pull over that thorax and I'll see if it has any significance at all. If not, what I might do is unwind a little bit, and I'll just move the thread, the first turn of thread down a slight bit lower down the hook, and then come up a bit. That's it. But yeah, if anybody, like, I know I've been asked before, and I've maybe done it at the start a few times, is I've certainly been asked, you know, to put up the tying of the 4 flies and the materials list and all that, of the 4 flies that we tie on a Saturday night so people can come on and pick up the materials and stuff like that. And I'd love to be able to do it, but I'm really sorry, I just don't have the time. You know, to sit there and type it out and write it out. And for me to post it, because I am not the most techie. There you go. See, I whip finished it off and never even finished the bloody fly. Gee, I think that's a first anyway. I'll just add in the thread, the Kevlar back in there again, give it a couple of turns in behind that bead, make sure it's well secured on. I was thinking about talking rather than thinking about what I was going to say, but yeah, it's just you know, for me to do something like that, I'm not the most techiest person in the world, and I wouldn't be the fastest on the keyboard, so it would take me probably to put up the 4 tines. So all I'm just pulling that thorax over. To put up the 4 tines would take me a bit of time. And see, I'm just getting a nice bit of pressure on that thread, just to make sure that turn gets that thorax right in, tucked in there behind the bead. I know, yes, yeah, I should, Kenneth. I should try and do it the week before, a couple of days before, so at least people will have the materials to practice with as well. Yeah, I don't get much spare time to, you know, in the shop. It's fairly full on. Most days, my days start at 7 a.m. here in the shop. Most times it finishes at around about 2:30, 3 a.m. And by the time I get through fly patterns and tie flies, most of the flies that people order off us here are actually tied by my hands. So by the time I tie the flies, answer emails, do the shop work, you know, I do school runs with the kids and stuff like that as well. I'm really very limited what extra time I have. But I think it's a great idea, and there's definitely going to be some of that stuff coming up in the club where I have a bit more time for, and I'll be putting up some materials. There we go, that's the little spiky olive that I use an awful lot. Thanks, Kevin. Perhaps so, Gary. Could be worth, yeah, could be something doing all right. But there's that lovely little spiky olive with the CDC and the real light CDC kind of legs coming out either side. You only want them on either side and brush out that. That is an absolute, that thing there, I tell you one thing, that's a real reliable for catching a little bit fussier fish. Again, no hot spot, thanks Stuart. No hot spot there as such really, you know, but it's a super attractive. It's super attractive, thanks Jamie. Super attractive and a real good fisher. Really good little nymph. And again, you know, mixing up your quills, you can mixing up your quill colours, doing the very same. That's even lovely in a natural strip quill, with just a little bit of natural squirrel in behind the bead as well. You know, you can see the little mirage hot spot or the kind of mirage flash at the top. Really good nymph. Caught a lot of fish with that one over the years, definitely. So there's another one. Yeah, it is all right. Yeah, and thanks, Colin. Right, so we're going to move on to another one. This time we got thanks, Kevin. We're going to stick to again similar style flies, and this time is Thomas. We're going to move down to a 2.5mm bead because this is an nymph. I always make sure it's long and skinny. Okay, this is a nice little one. Yeah, it sure is, Declan. And when that gets wet, it's, you know, it's fabulous looking. You'd have to see it. It's absolutely beautiful when that little. And I say, really be subtle with your CDC on the likes of that. You don't need to over. You know, you can overpower the fly by having too much CDC in there. Dave's on, folks, as well. And he's a question coming up there, so keep an eye on that one. You know, really be subtle with your CDC. You just want to give it a really light cloaking because the effect of it when it's wet is just magnificent. Now, let me get my head back on here and see what I'm doing. Right, so we're going to black thread. This one is called a Cocktail Leon nymph. Been using this for a long time. And really good nymph. For, again, this particular style. Now, of course, these patterns are all transferable. Good stuff, Johnny. Yeah, that Kevlar tie thread is super handy. This you know, these are all transferable. These patterns are all transferable to jig nymphs if you want, or tie them with larger beads and stumpier bodies. Just for me, it's just talking about this style of fishing. And I just want to plant a seed, I suppose, in your heads for, you know, when you're planning and tying during the winter months like I do be normally doing. I'm thinking about not just what nymphs am I going to use next year, but the tactics I use. Now, I really analyse, you know, what really worked for me last year and what didn't work for me more so last year. You know, and I base my tying on kind of yeah, good one, John. But I base my tying on kind of, you know, what am I trying to achieve next year? You know, am I going to work harder on a specific type of technique or a way to approach rivers or whatever, and then that will determine kind of what I'm going to tie, like, you know. So here I've got an empty stem or stalk of a cocktail Leon feather, as you can see. Okay, it's lovely. It's quite really well marked, and these are makes lovely bodies, and that's exactly what I'm going to use on the body here. So I'd strip out my cocktail Leon and make all my tails, and then once I get the stem fairly clean, and this is a nice long one for tying a big long skinny body. Once I've got that all cleaned off, I just throw in a little tub. I don't throw them on the ground and dump them, and I use this as a body. It's a really good quill body, and all I do, you can see the last little bit of cocktail Leon there left at the head. It's too small for me to use, and I'll just come down a bit and just cut that, and we're just going to add that in there. Actually, I had a cop, but I didn't even see it because it's a little bit it actually makes for a great buzzer body as well. Actually, I have a lovely buzzer I tie with this. Now you can see the mistake that I made there straight away. Not a mistake, I'm going to let myself go away with it, but I didn't add in the lead. And straight away now as I'm making my way up to get my taper, I've no kind of guide there to tell me of the exact diameter I want of that kind of the fly tapering up. And straight away I can see it's almost frustrating me a bit, because yes, I'll come up here and I'll start piling on the trade trying to get it, but it's just much easier to have that little bit of lead in there as a guide to really help you get the nice taper, and exactly the taper I look for in these particular nymphs. I'm going to read that question out to you there now, folks. So Dave is on there with the question: to distinguish trout from salmon, you can examine the vomarine. Exactly and precisely where on a trout or salmon would you find the vomarine? Now, Dave needs that. I was talking to Dave about this. He needs that absolutely precisely, the correct answer, word for it. So, best of luck, everyone. You win yourself a nice new fly tying lamp that you can, if you have one already, you can give it away as a present, or you can keep it for yourself. They're great little lamps for travelling. And I'm going to add a little bit of varnish onto the body here, and that will help to keep this a little bit robust. Just be careful with the first couple of turns. It can be a little bit fragile right at the start, but once we get going, and you want the turns fairly close. They don't have to be touching, but you want them fairly close. Not a very easy fly to tie in these light conditions, but you'll all have the tie-in technique of achieving it yourself, because working with a dark material against a black background and the trade with no light over you is quite difficult indeed. But it gives a lovely natural quill to the body. Tie it off. Once we tie it off, then that's it, perfect. Now we don't resin that. There's a temptation there to resin it to secure it in even more. Don't. You won't get the look. You won't get the look. So that's why I put a little bit of varnish on there. But I hope you can see that. You can see it. You can get an idea of that little the quill that's on that. It's a lovely. It's a lovely little body on that one. I'm just looking here at the tying of that one then as well. So again, we're having no hot spots, but as you notice with all of these nymphs, I'm adding in a little bit of flash somewhere. Okay, rather than hot spot, I like the little bit of flash in these. Got a little bit of our pearl mylar. And this time we're just going to add in a little bit of, see if I got it here. Where have I got it? I'm looking for a little bit of a natural squirrel. Natural squirrel with a little bit of UV. Going through it. Here it is, on this side. No, it's not. It must be over it. There's an empty slot here on me. I bet you I am out of it. I have some downstairs, or I'm not going to go downstairs. I'm just going to use something else here. So I'm going to use a little bit. It's kind of like a muskrat with a little bit of UV going through it. It's not. It's a fine muskrat, but I can't seem to find that squirrel. I must be out of it. I think something recalls me now. Last week or week before. I haven't been tying too many nymphs recently. It's mostly been lake flies, but just a little bit of UV flash in this with a little bit of squirrel. Very similar to what we used on the... You're very welcome, Dennis. Congratulations to Dennis Golden. Actually, he won the AWOL heat last Sunday in difficult conditions, and Brian Conway was second. I think Shane Bird was third, was he, Dennis? But just going to dub that on there nice and lightly. Dennis won with 10 fish. Good angling in tough conditions. I think he's have 2 legs left. Once I've dubbed that on, pulled a little bit of pearl over the top. Yeah, wouldn't be overly happy with that nymph now. Definitely the spiky squirrel makes a huge difference there. Fergal Fenton, what is my favourite nymph? I suppose on any given day, the one that's catching the fish. My favourite would be a pheasant tail. A pheasant tail with a very standard pheasant tail with a copper bead, a coq de leon tail, a copper rib, and it has just a bit of hens number 6. Hens number 6 dubbing in behind the bead, and I'll show you that dubbing there now. And that's it. Simple as that. That would have to be my go-to nymph. That would have to be my go-to nymph. Where's my spectre dubbing set, Scott? A dubbing set there, and that must be where the squirrel is gone. Oh, spectre. Is it there? No, it's not in that one. No. Anyway, but I think it's spectre number 6. That Virgil, that would be my favourite nymph. And there is the little. That is the little coq de leon nymph. Definitely has a little. It's just slightly darker. It's slightly darker in the thorax if you have used the squirrel, and a little bit more spiky. Okay, that muskrat's a little bit too soft for that nymph, I feel. It's not quite standoutish enough, but you can get the gist. Small little bead. No worry, John. No worry. Lovely little nymph. Lovely little body on that one. Very natural. Yeah, Michael, it's absolute. The quills are. I have a whole box of quills there that I use the whole time, and I keep them for buzzers and I keep them for dries. They're a lovely dry fly body as well. The badger quill. I remember growing up fishing badger quill dry flies that I used to buy in Power Sound, or I used to get off my mentor Noel Shields, and they were tied with the quill of a badger hackle. And it was really difficult to get that. I remember having a cape at the time. I bought one off Noel or whoever, Mayo Flycraft or whoever it was, and when he stripped the quill off the badger hackle, you know, you got a lovely coloured, a lovely kind of body material that made the badger quill for us, like up in Wicklow. And then when that cape got used up, I was buying other badger capes and it just wasn't getting the same look of it. And then one time I had a piece of coq de leon and it was stripped, and I just looked at it. I thought, geez, that's fair. Like, you know, you got a real light kind of markings where the barbs come off of, and the other lovely dark centerpiece, and the same on the far side. So when I wrapped it up over black thread, absolutely beautiful, beautiful body. You should try it on buzzers and stuff as well. It's lovely. It's great material to have. I certainly wouldn't be throwing them out. Any other quills I tend to alright, but not just a Coq de Leon quill. Little Coq de Leon nymph. Again, you can see the trend of these lovely little nymphs. Like, very simple, nothing too complicated, but man, are they super effective. You know, super effective at catching fish. So, moving on to our last nymph of the night. And this is what I call a primrose nymph. This is one I've been tying for a long time. Very, very good. Again, 301 size 14, and this time we have a gold 3mm bead in that hook there. Lots of answers coming into Dave's question. Now let me think what I got here. Primrose. So I got some classic waxed primrose tie-in silk. Okay, this is a great fly for those, if I feel that my nymphs are swimming underneath the trout, this is a fly I'll often put on, and it'll solve the problem quite quickly. Excuse me. Coq de Leon as well, as always. Coq de Leon tail. Not a big amount, as you can see, quite subtle enough, but enough. And I always tend to tie in my Coq de Leon and stuff like that quite high up the hook, because I want a real narrow kind of taper coming down here, that if we tie it in at the end, and then by the time you mess around with and you taper your body up, again, you see I've made the common mistake that I've made in the last one nymphs. I'm kind of doing a bit on purpose to see, just to get the point across about how we use the lead as a gauge to get our perfect taper. It makes your tying a lot easier. But I tie it in there, so when I actually come down to set the kind of the tail in place, there's only one layer of thread at the butt, not possibly 2 or 3. So I'll hold the tail in place, and now I'll bring my thread down, giving me that real nice skinny, and then straight away bring my thread back up. So we get a really nice skinny butt to that fly. Very important. We'll put down a little bit of that, and then whip finish and remove it. Kenneth, that is Semperfly Classic Wax Tying Thread by Semperfly, obviously. It's lovely stuff. Really, really good thread. This primrose colour, I use a lot of this for olives, and you then just use the cobbler's wax to colour it to get that lovely olive. What we're going to add in now is some hens. This is hens quill body, okay, and it's just medium olive. And what I love about this stuff, it's slightly transparent, so obviously that underbody of primrose it makes it a really nice colour olive. Now we're not going to bring that the whole way down. We're just going to slightly come down a bit onto where I finished off that nice butt, and then come back up, and it's going to give us lovely natural kind of two-tone look going down that nymph, as you can see. Obviously the more turns I put of the body, well then the darker it actually gets. But you can see the way we've a lovely transition now from our primrose up into a nice solid olive colour there, and really, really nice body. Very good on a dry fly as well. And we can whip finish that stuff. It's not the strongest stuff in the world. Like it certainly needs some protection there now, but like, you know, you can work your tools with it quite well. So that's really good material. That comes in a ton of different colours. We have all those different colours downstairs. Fantastic stuff to work with, and it comes in a dual colour as well, where there's lighter sections and darker sections, and you can do some very interesting bodies with that stuff. Going to put a small little bit of resin on that, just to give it protection. Again, not a big coat. I'm not tying a perdigon or anything. I just want to give it a little coat to give it a bit of protection. Small amount of resin is enough. There we go. Little blast of the pen. Lovely. Now, let me think. Kevlar. Kevlar to finish. Attaching my Kevlar there. Take away our waste. Now, what we're going to add in here for a thorax cover is a cream piece of very fine foam. Okay? Picked this up a few years ago. It's about 1.5 mil, and it's cream in colour. And I'm going to cut off about Yeah, 3 mil, 3 to 4 mil of that. I'll just put a little bit of a taper on there, just to help so I don't over bulk up that. Actually, that's even a little bit thick, I'd say. And that's going to tie in there, just at the back of that bead, and bring it down onto the body a slight bit. Now we're going back to our squirrel here again, our olive squirrel that I know I do have. And this one, isn't it? Yeah, here it is. And again, say they're light nymphs, so I'm going to spin this in again because I don't want to over bulk up any part of the fly. Just massage out that thread with the double needle like so. Flattens it out really nicely against the finger, and it makes it very easy. I knew I shouldn't have said it. Makes it very easy to just slip that needle through the thread flattened out in your hand. I then get a little bit of meat. Squirrel. Get it in there, and once it's in there then I can tease it up down so I get the correct amount of thickness in my dumb brush, and then I'll give it a spin. Spin it up good and well. Get a nice, really fine little double brush there like so. Kind of holding my foam back a little bit. I'll make sure I get that dubbing right in there where I stopped tying in my foam, and then bring my excuse me, my dubbing brush up forward. Because if you don't pull it back a little bit and get right in there when you bring your foam forward, it will it won't have the same impact. It could be just a small, it could be too short or too small. And I'm just separating the thorax there so I can get a really good sit down on this foam. I don't want the foam to be really sticking up and making a big kind of nuisance over itself. I just want a little spot in behind the bead. And just watch your tying. Putting a good bit of pressure when I'm pulling that foam over, so it's quite tight. If you put too much pressure on your thread, you will cut through that. So you don't want to cut through that. 2 good turns of Kevlar in there, plenty. And then what I do is I tie it off in behind the bead so I can put pressure there. It's not going anywhere. Get your scissors and snip that off right dead tight. And you get a lovely little thorax cover on the back of that nymph. And it also offers a little bit of support. Say, for, you know, again, this is, if I feel that the fish are fishing higher up in the water, this is the style of nymph I'll switch to. Okay. Whip finish in behind the bead. Again, don't whip finish in there on top of the foam that you just attach. You will cut it and destroy it, and you'll be going the whole way back to get it tied right. Lots of kind of resistance on a nymph like that, if you understand what I mean, as regards with the dubbing sticking out and a bit of foam and stuff. And that's exactly what I want. I wanted to make an impact when it hits the water, but I'm not really looking to achieve penetration with this kind of a fly that it's going to sink straight to the bottom and get me onto the bottom. This is summertime fishing, riffles maybe a foot deep, not even, and fish, you know, maybe feet higher in the water, or they're just not looking. Again, no hot spots, no, you know, there's no need for hot spot. So Johnny Long, all the hook size that I use tonight are size 14 301 Haku G or the Haku standard hooks. They're a dry fly hook, but a lot of guys use them on nymphs. These style of flies would be a big one. I would tie most of these on a size 16. Thanks, Philip. So I would tie them on a 14 to 14, 16s, 18s, and 20s. I'd even tie them down to a 22 with a 1.5mm bead. You know, really, really good for catching stubborn fish. They're good for fishing higher up in the water columns. Good for, say, Euro dinking when we're dragging. Thanks, Colin. You know, thanks, Kevin. You know, they're very versatile nymph. Where if you're just either sick of fishing jigs or just not feeling it, you're really maximising your catch, and you're stuck on jigs. Well, then definitely have these style of nymphs. My nymph box for as long as I can remember has had these style of nymphs, and there's lots more. Like, it's not just these four, but these are kind of my four top apartments for that style of nymphing, and they're really effective and really tried and tested. So look, there we go, folks. I hope you've enjoyed that one. Thanks to Dave for your quiz again tonight. I'll go back over. I'll talk to Dave later on, and I'll see who's going to win themselves a nice brand new little lovely fly tying lamp. Really great. You can give it a Christmas present or keep it yourself, whatever you want to do with it. And I'm going to sign off now, folks, for Christmas. So that's it. I'll be back in January. Look, I'm not going to leave the planet or anything. You'll be hearing lots from me in Australia, but we won't be tying flies on Saturday night. Unfortunately, logistics are just too complicated. You're very welcome, Craig. Great stuff. Thanks, Brian. So huge thanks to everyone that supported us out 2023. Really do appreciate it, guys. He's fair play to you. I hope you've enjoyed what we've given you over the year, and look forward to what's to come next year. We have a big year planned next year. We have a lot of changes coming to the business and a lot of things going to happen. So really excited about what's coming next year. Do stay with us. Do stay with us and follow the club if you're in the club. If you're not, if you want to follow all the antics and crack in Australia, sign up to Piscari Club, and first month is free, and so there's loads of discounts and stuff on there, but a lot of content will be going up there, and we've thrown some stuff up on Facebook too. Mark, Ricky and Owen will be in the shop for the whole Christmas, so we won't be taking any time off. Our Christmas hours will be put up there tomorrow, and you'll be able to still get all your gear. If you're stuck for it over Christmas, do feel free to give us a ring. The same number. I'm not taking that phone with me, so that phone actually stays here in the shop. So you ring the normal number and you'll be put onto one of the guys. So folks, have a great Christmas and a happy New Year to you all. I wish you all the best, safe and happy Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you back here tying some flies and talking fly fishing and fly tying, which is again in January, and we'll be looking forward to our new season, which will only be a matter of weeks away. Good night to you all, and stay safe, and see you all real soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.